What's up guys, Ryan Schultz here from E39 Source. We're at the shop in Escondido and I've got about 60 minutes to get this video filmed right now because we've got a truck coming to pick up this car and take it back to its owner in the state of Mississippi. So before that happens, let's get a walk around, talk about some of the work we did on the car and explain why this thing is so unique and so special. And I'm hoping to learn a bit from this video. Hopefully in the comments someone else has one or can tell me more about this car. This is a 2010 E60 M5 25th year anniversary edition vehicle, finished in frozen gray metallic. To my understanding, this is the first BMW to be offered in a frozen paint finish in 2010. That's 12 years ago now. All the rage today, sure, but 12 years ago this would have been a big deal to have a frozen gray BMW. So the 25-year anniversary car, I really can't find very much online as to what it got other than this paint finish and kind of a unique interior on this car. This one is extremely well optioned. I do believe it has every single option available at the time. And being a 2010, this is the first one we've seen that's a pretty darn rare model year. Seems to me that most of the models were manufactured in 2006 or 2008. 2007s only ran through February of 2007. The 08s came out real early, and I've never seen an 09, so they're out there somewhere. But this is our first 2010, and there's a few differences that I'll point out that that I've noticed about the car. So let's kind of start with some of the exterior modifications, and we can start right there with the exhaust and see that that is Eisenman, I believe, a race level version of Eisenman exhaust. It's got a factory resonator, cats, and headers right now, though he does have a set of headers in the trunk that I think will go on eventually. It's funny on these E60 M5s with the V10, the exhaust doesn't make a tremendous impact on how it sounds, beyond changing the volume. Between factory, between Eisenman, between a muffler delete, it's super easy to tell still that it's the S85 V10. It has an incredibly unique sound to it. The different mufflers just kind of seem to change the volume, most importantly, and maybe a touch of raspiness. In the rear here, I know he has a set of F10 LED rear license plate lights that work beautifully and complement the white halos that this car has on the front. We did have to do a little bit of coding trickery in the light module so we don't get any warnings. Exceptionally rare option for the E60, folding rear seats. Absolutely love that. And even cooler than that is the original genuine BMW M5 floor mat. Look at that, I've never seen one of these. Nice thick plush carpeting. That has been no longer available for probably about 10 years. Pretty jealous on that one. Another quick note here on the trunk lid, it's got this little sticker that tells you not to dump anything in the trunk because the battery's beneath it. So someone made that mistake. Come around the side and notice a few things here. So for one, it looks like he's got a clear bulb in there and potentially a smoked lens or a tinted lens on the side reflector. And then this, I'm not sure if this is a 25-year anniversary grille or just a 2010 grille, or if it's an aftermarket black, matte black side grille. We'll see that the front grills are black to match that, and that's a gloss black on the front grills. Behind there we've got the RPI air intakes in red, obviously an aftermarket touch. On the side we have the reflector deletes, paint matched in frozen gray. The big thing I notice about a 2010 over any other model year are these side mirrors. You see the difference? Anybody that owns one of these can probably pretty easily tell this is a different mirror. This is a larger mirror. It sticks out from the car the same amount. That dimension didn't change. What did change was the height by about a half an inch, between a half an inch and an inch. This is a taller mirror with more surface area. My understanding is this was a European regulation change where they wanted so much surface area of side mirror glass. And instead of making a US glass and mirror and a European glass and mirror, they just changed all the 2010s to meet that new regulation with larger side mirrors, which initially looks a little bulky to me, only because I'm used to the 2006 mirrors myself on our 06 M5. But driving this for a couple of days, it's actually really nice. It feels a little safer. You just get greater visibility when looking in the mirror, which is super nice for, let's say, highway lane changes. Let's talk about some of the options. The M5s came very well equipped in the first place, but here we've got the heads-up display, one of my favorite features. We've got soft closed doors all the way around. All four of them work. We did have to replace the front driver's door actuator to get that soft close function back. We're going to look inside the car now and see an incredibly unique and special interior. I've never seen this before. Let me crawl in here and start it up for a few reasons. One, we've got a bit of a low battery that I'd like to charge up before it jumps on the truck. And that's what our service notification is about there. And the other warning is one that the E60 M5 throws every 11 miles, and that is about fuel, which they didn't want full for a truck ride either. So inside the car, we've got a lovely two-tone interior. I cannot tell if this is the standard BMW Oyster interior or if it's something totally bespoke to the 2010 model year and or the 25-year anniversary package. But beautiful full leather interior. So that obviously means we get the stitched leather up here. That's a Napa leather on the upper component of the door panel. And then down below, I believe that's a Dakota leather stitched around the mat pocket. Glove box is leather. The lower dash, the upper dash is all leather. Little cutout there for the airbag. Pretty much everything in here is leather, except for a few small things where the E39 did have leather. So our steering column trim is still plastic. Our lower B pillar is still plastic, whereas the E39 full leather cars had those wrapped in leather. Ultimately, I think BMW decided that that was wasteful and did away with it. Driver's perspective view of the mirror here. To me, it's very clear that that's taller. Yeah, I guess you'd have to be used to one of the other ones to realize that. These are the 3,600 way adjustable power seats, including the backrest articulation, electric headrest, adjustable headrest like an aircraft. Work our way over here to the trim and see that that is a beautiful high gloss, kind of a piano black looking trim, as we have a 540 M-Tech on M5 wheels cruise by us here. I've never seen this in an E60 before. It's not the Steinway that we saw in that 545. This is different and probably part of the 25-year package. And here's why the car is here. Of course, it's a 6-speed manual car now. I don't know if that helps or hurts the value, being such a rare car, but either way, it is significantly more fun to drive, significantly more reliable, and just the experience of rowing your own in a V10 500 horsepower M5 sedan is pretty much unparalleled. We'll keep talking about some of the options here. So we mentioned the full leather, we mentioned the heads-up display. We do have sunshades in the back. Those are the side door shades, as well as the rear window shade, which on the E60 is actuated right here below the rear right window switch. See, they appear to have done a better job in engineering the E60 shade. I do not see those fail nearly as much. Well, we're up here. We get a look at the interior matched headliner. That is suede or Alcantara, and it's in the same kind of oyster color that the seats are. Absolutely beautiful. I've never seen this outside of the 7 Series before. It's got some sags in the back that I think will be addressed at a later date, but otherwise it is very clean. All E60 M5s came with navigation, of course, but in 2010, you saw your CCC system replaced with CIC. And this is what was used in the E90, probably in the 7 Series, in the X5 and X6 after a certain year. It's a much better system that actually replaced the display as well as the computer and the controller. Now you get all these handy little shortcut buttons around the knob. It's notably faster. They added a bunch of functions and features to it. The map is just significantly more rich. The resolution is better, this display is brighter, it's an improvement in every sense. Something else I've noticed here, the steering wheel appears to be wrapped in a Napa leather as opposed to kind of the grainier Dakota or Montana leather that the earlier cars have. So that could be a function of a 2010 or the 25-year package. Then we also see a shortcut button here. This used to be a bit of a diamond or a star shape that you could program, and now it looks like a CD eject button. Maybe there's no CDs in there, or it's still programmable, I don't know. M button does the normal, that's programmable to however you like. So the 08 Plus cars changed the center console design, ultimately for the better. There's more screws that hold it in. And the older cars had a rounded edge down here, so this is a bit more squared off. And the factory E60 M5 manual 08 Plus shift knob is currently not available. It is due back. We're hearing first quarter of 2023, so a few months away yet. So in the meantime, we've just used a generic black leather M 6-speed knob, and then the non-M, just a black Dakota kind of textured leather boot. When the customer acquires the correct knob in a few months, it'll be as easy as pulling off the knob in the boot. It's already pre-wired. We're completely ready to go. All of that looks 100% factory. We're super happy with, we were actually able to find the little connector. So literally plug and play in the new shifter, pop it down into position, it's going to be ready to go. We get a look over here, another thing we're happy about. So generally when we do these conversions, you have your tire pressure reset button here, and that usually has to stay because you can't buy these switches new anymore, and the odds of finding one with your buttons in a used marketplace but replacing the tire pressure with MDM for manual is extremely rare. And somehow we managed to do that here. So we actually have the proper button panel. There's our MDM button. I always show this. So MDM mode goes on and off with a simple press. If I press and hold that button, that is the full defeat of DSC. Now leaving your rear tires to be destroyed. But back to the options. This car has the heated seats, cooled seats, in addition to the active seats, or those side bolsters that move around on you. I just checked for Sirius XM. Of course, the car's got that. And in the rear seat, we've got heated seats as well. Look at that. Not a common option to see on these as well. Most people didn't want to spend the money to give rear passengers the heated option. On the early cars, speaking of this area, that's where you would find your auxiliary input, which to me was a ridiculously stupid place to put an auxiliary input. Maybe in about 2008 or so, it moved up here to the center console, and you get a USB port in addition to your 3.5mm input jack there. Something I noticed on this car, it might be an 08 plus thing, could be 09, maybe even 10. Here in the glove box, we'll find another USB port. We'll get a quick look under the hood though. As far as I know, everything up here is factory. After our transmission services, driveline services, a couple underbody plastics, fluids and filters, we did sublet the vehicle for rod bearings. So we've got nice fresh connecting rod bearings in there, high pressure Vanos line, and that I believe was with customer supplied BE bearings and ARP bolts. So this car is ready for some miles with a reliable transmission, a well-serviced engine, no trouble codes after my few days of driving. This thing's ready to go. Okay, I'm gonna wrap this one up here. If you know any more about the 2010 25-year anniversary E60 M5, any production numbers, anything specific as to what BMW kind of only optioned on this car, please leave me a comment down below. I'd love to learn more about this car, and we will miss it around the shop. This was always a head turner for anybody back there that asked, hey, what's that frozen gray one? It's just a really, really cool, unique car, and a pleasure to see one as a manual. Come to think of it, this might be the only manual 25-year car in the world. I don't know that these were optioned with the manual transmission. I found one for sale online back in like 2014, and maybe I'm not very good at Google, but that's about all I could find. Little tidbit, he's also got a 2010 E60 M5 in white. It's not Alpine, is it white sapphire or mineral white perhaps? And the coolest thing is, it's a sequential VIN. It was the next car or the previous car to this car on the assembly line, and he's got both of them. So maybe if he likes this thing in a 6-speed, we'll get to do it again. So thank you guys for watching. We've got another happy customer here, and couldn't be happier about that myself. So back inside, back to work. Talk to you guys in the next video.